Welcome back to Newsday here on Rise News. The presidential candidate of the All Progressives Congress, that's APC Bola Ahmed Tinubu, has assured business leaders that if elected in the February 2023 election, he would phase out Nigeria's controversial petroleum subsidy regime. He also told members of the private sector that his administration would reinvent Nigeria's industrialization and make the country a leader in the fourth industrial revolution by accelerating the production of made-in-Nigeria goods. Joining us to discuss this is Arise News analyst, Mr. Kayode Otitoju. I'm trying not to laugh.
Your festive cheer.
I'm trying not to laugh, but you look very festive, and thank you for bringing, this humor and this aura with you into the studio. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Now, of course, we understand what the APC presidential candidate promised in terms of the removal of subsidy. And one thing he mentioned was that despite whatever might be said in terms of opposition, that he would go ahead with it. I'm just wondering what your thoughts are in terms of challenges that he might face regarding this stance that he's taken should he emerge president of Nigeria.
Yeah, I think it's still in the continuation of his localized campaign. Localized means he's looking at sectors and he's meeting the stakeholders in those sectors and telling them what he would like to do if he becomes the president. Like last week, or was it last Monday, he met the NLC and the Labour. Then yesterday, he met the business community in Lagos, and he told them that actually, come what may, I will remove the fuel subsidy. Because right now, fuel is selling for over 250 naira per liter. So the subsidy actually came into effect as far back as 1977, when the act, the Price Control Act was put in place, and it was put in place in regulating prices. The act regulated prices of some goods, petroleum inclusive, and whatever is being sold for was controlled by government, and that means the selling price and the production or the market price, the difference was being handled by government. What is subsidy really? Subsidy is, the cushion, that government gives to make consumer pay less than the actual price of the good. So he said he will remove it. It has been removed on kerosene. It has been removed on diesel. The remaining now is gasoline, or what you call petrol. So, and he's not the first person to say it. Mr. President said it when he was presenting the 2023 budget in October this year. He told the houses, the National Assembly, that come next year, 2023, that the petroleum subsidy will be removed. So I think it's just echoing what Mr. President has said. And it's good to say something. It's the implementation that matters. Many people will say something and they won't do it. But he is saying, even if there is strike, he will still make sure, no matter how long the strike persists, he will make sure that he removes the subsidy. Because fuel subsidy in Nigeria, just 20% of the people, the real rich people, though it's supposed to be subsidy that cushion effect of consumption, and based on user charges. Who are the users? Car owners, okay? And what they use petrol for again? vehicle, diesel is used for plants, so it has been removed on diesel already. So you just find that just 20% of the rich people, are getting the real subsidy, which is 18 point something billion naira per day, which translates to about 13 or 16 billion dollars per annum, subsidizing the rich. So I think it's long overdue.
All right. Now, in his statement, he said, and I quote, "No matter how long you protest, we will remove subsidy." And you also alluded to that earlier. We saw how significant Occupy Nigeria was at the time that it took place. And, apart from what it stood for, it was an important occurrence for civil society in Nigeria because people felt like they had a voice. Now, is this a red flag for civil society if a presidential candidate is saying that no matter how long you protest, I will do what I want to do? Do you think we should be concerned? Should civil society rather be concerned about the signal that this messaging sends?
I think the civil society is peopled by reasonable people. What's the difference between the subsidy and without subsidy? Okay? With subsidy, we are paying at almost the market price of the good, and it's not available. It's not available. Let them remove the subsidy. Let it be available. And the reason why it's not available is almost 50% of what is imported. We import the finished product. We don't refine. We have refinery, but the refineries are not working. Okay? So because there is subsidy, the importers import more than we need. And the excess of what we consume find its way to neighboring countries of Niger, Cameroon, Ghana. You get my point? Because it is cheaper getting the internationally imported petrol by those countries, and which is the international country, Nigeria. So they are importing from Nigeria. So let's say, in Ghana, to produce petrol and whatever, is $10 per liter. And in Nigeria, what comes from Nigeria is bought by the businessmen for $6. Ghanaians won't even buy from their own country. They won't buy what their country is producing. They will buy the one from Nigeria because it's cheaper. And they can still sell even below that $10, in Ghana. So why should we subsidize, other countries? Why? And that is why it's still difficult to know how much we consume. Because everything is like mirage. Nobody knows the quantity imported and the quantity that are freighted to neighboring countries using barge, pontoon, or small boats. Apart from the bridges. Okay, bridges means big tankers, that cross the border, land border, and sold, at lower price to the country of country of import, which is being subsidized by our own. So I will think is making a bold step, and people should know that actually it's better when a candidate is bold enough, to say, this is what I will do. Though it may not be that palatable, but in the long run, it may be, something that can stabilize, the economy. Because apart from subsidy, another thing that makes Nigeria not economically stabilized is the movement of the exchange rate. And exchange rate to any businessman affects his business by cost of importing the raw materials or finished good if you are selling, then cost of clearing. Because clearing is based on ex-factory price of either the vehicle or whatever for calculating the duty. Okay? Then even the profit. Before you think of the profit, when you want to, exchange, and it has eaten into it. So if any of the candidates that is lucky to win the election can help us solve the problem of subsidy, 13-point-something billion dollar per annum could be channeled to better use than, enriching the rich. Then exchange rate, which by what the central bank is doing now, with time, the exchange rate may go down. And once it goes down and there is no one exchange rate to people who will get it from central bank and sell to bureau de change, everybody you get from the official distance. Market will be stabilized, production will be feasible. Nobody wants to produce in an atmosphere of uncertainty, and above all, security. Security.
Even though we have about 45 seconds, Mr. Otitoju, would you say that the APC presidential candidate is doing a bit of a promising? He's talking about subsidy removal here. Then he says he plans to, fix power, introduce student loans. Do you think he's over-promising here, like politicians are renowned for? Or are you comfortable with what he's saying and the pace?
I think, when you were in the university and you wanted to write your long essay or your research, there is a chapter that is devoted to historical review. So historical review means you look at what other people have done, on the topic you chose. Mm-hmm. When you do historical review of what Asiwaju had done in Lagos State, then you know that actually it's not empty promises. You will do it, yeah.
Well, let's hope that that statement ages well if the day comes. Kayode Otitoju, thank you so much for your time, and thank you for bringing the festive cheer to the studio. We appreciate it so much.
Merry Christmas in advance.
Same to you. Same to you.